Okay, hello there. Today
Hello.
I have the privilege of having Joseph Lee with me. How are you doing, Joseph?
Hi, Marcelo. Nice to be
Uh,
here.
Pleasure to have you here. So it's a Monday night, and thank you for taking time to speak with me.
Of
So
course.
it's 6:11 p.m. So instead of enjoying your evening, so you're here speaking with me. So that's greatly appreciated. And Joseph, can you give us a brief introduction about yourself or what do you do today?
Hi. Yeah, my name is Joseph. I am a software engineer by trade, and I also am a director for a program that Stanford University puts on every year called Code in Place, where we invite tens of thousands of students all around the world to participate in a 6-week intensive program to learn introduction to coding, basically. And we have volunteers from all around the world who join the program as well to teach them and engage and be a part of a huge learning community, perhaps the biggest that we've ever seen at the introductory university level. So yeah, I do that, and I've been involved with Code in Place for the last 4 years, and this will be our 5th year. Code in Place is a play off Shelter in Place, and it started in 2020, back during COVID-19, when everyone had to shelter in place. Professor Chris Peach and Maran Sahami had the idea to, if everyone's at home sheltering in place, why not get everyone to learn how to code together? So I've been a part of that in various capacities, and this year I am a director for that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be talking a little bit more about that a little bit later here in the program. But before we get there, let's go back in time. Let's go back to how did technology get into your life?
Technology. I've always been into, I would say, numbers and math and understanding, or problems that have like a step-by-step solution, essentially. So computing, I guess, came pretty naturally to me. I was very excited about the idea of a program. I remember writing my first for loop, and I was like, wow, this computer is doing a lot of work. And doing some of the first assignments in my programming classes. How technology has come into my life from a young age. I suppose technology is a very broad concept. It can be computers. It can also be like a kitchen tool. That's like a new technology for cooking. But I would say from a computing standpoint, yeah, technology. I suppose just in the various like little science and math competitions that I and engineering competitions that I participated in, there were the ways to improve upon whatever task I was doing always involved some sort of technology, whether that be like a search engine. I'd go and look up more details or tutorials on how to do something, or I would use a better measurement tool if I was doing something engineering based, and things of that sort. So it really made me realize the value of technology and using the right tools to do the right things. Yeah.
I was thinking about the for loop you mentioned here. So it's seeing that happening. It's if you think about that, somebody that does not understand programming, and the first time you look into that, it can be intimidating to understand what's happening there, right? So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And going back to more like elementary school and high school, did you have exposure to computers and programming when you were at high school or elementary school, or how did that go for you?
I would say that in elementary school, my only exposure to programming and computers was maybe playing computer games with my friends and siblings. I didn't really get into computer programming until high school. There was a class, computer science class that I took, but even then I wasn't very active in the for example, some competitive programming circles that maybe some of my peers were more involved in. But I really, enjoyed putting together the little projects and games. My first programming language was, I think it was using a turtle.
Oh,
I think it
Logo.
was called, Logo.
Logo.
It was called Micro Worlds EX. And I remember I used a turtle to make a maze game. And then in high school, that computer science class was in Java. Yeah, and then I didn't learn Python until much later. But my first exposure to Python was MIT's OpenCourseware. They have free resources online, assignments, lectures, problem sets, quizzes, tests, all for free online. And I remember I was working through those on my own in high school, and I was like, oh wow, this is all free and available. It was very inspiring. Yeah,
absolutely, that's fantastic. And how was the path from high school to college, university for you? How did you decide what to do and where to go for college, university?
Yeah, so I suppose in high school I had more of a engineering slant to my interests, and I still do. And so when I was applying for college, I definitely wanted to do something in the engineering space. I also really enjoyed, tinkering, electronics, Arduino programming, things of that sort. So I applied into the College of Engineering at the University of California at Berkeley. And when I got there, I met a lot of friends who were very computer science oriented. And I was easily influenced into taking a lot of theoretical computer science classes with them, and it was a lot of fun. I think it was, the most fun I had in undergraduate. My undergraduate years was, doing problem sets together on a Thursday night, just working through algorithms problems and bouncing ideas off each other and ordering a pizza and staying up late. So I was engineering, but I also did a double major in, I was material science and engineering, but I did a double major in electrical engineering and computer science, with the idea that I would do some sort of semiconductor electronic materials. But I ended up doing a lot of computer science as well during those years, because a lot of my friends were pure computer science, and whether that be theoretical or applications based. So yeah, a large part of my community at Cal was in the CS field. So that's how yeah.
Very cool. And how was I think you went to Rice University, and I think you had a job there as a researcher, right? So was it straight from Berkeley to the job as a researcher at Rice University, or how did it go for you?
Rice University was a high school research experience where I worked with their material science lab there, with optical characteristics of materials. Yeah. So that was something I worked purely in high school, because I was based in Houston when I grew up. So I think my last year in high school, I only did a half day at the actual school, and then I would leave before lunch, and then I'd go to the lab and stay at the lab until very late. It was a lot of fun there too.
Yeah. And so when you finished, did you go straight from Berkeley to your first job, or what was your first job?
Yeah, so I did an internship with a subsidiary of Intel while I was at Berkeley. It was a sort of a embedded software firm that was working on the software for the Mars rover, software on the Mars rover. And that was really my first 9 to 5. I go in, I work with the team, I have daily stand-up, and then I go home. Kind of my first job experience there as an intern. Yeah, And then from there, I started taking classes at San Jose State University, really to help. Like I mentioned before, I was a material science engineer.
Yep.
So it means I took a lot of material science courses and electrical engineering courses and physics courses in addition to the computer science workload. But I decided to take some one-off graduate level and computer science courses at San Jose State University to really fill the gaps in my understanding. So I took a software engineering course there. I took a couple advanced algorithms, graduate algorithms, some math because I really enjoy math. So I took a matrix theory class there. And then while I was there, someone in my network worked at a startup in Boston called Path AI, and we were working. I joined them, so that's a spoiler. They were working on a sort of product within the startup, which is a really exciting product that needed someone who was kind of a jack of all trades in the sense that they needed someone who knew, mechanical systems, electrical systems, optical systems, and also how to code. So it was kind of like a perfect match for me. Although that meant that I had to move out to Boston, but I was happy to do so. I was young and had a lot of energy to go and pick up my life. So yeah, that was my first company, my first full-time role, not an intern role.
That was Path AI?
As Path AI, that's right.
Okay.
I started in 2019. Path AI is a startup that builds AI-powered tools for digital pathology to improve patient outcomes. So digital pathology as a field, it's a pathologist is a doctor, and think when you get any kind of tissue sample that gets imaged by a doctor, the doctor takes a look at it and maybe needs to make a distinction about a certain disease or whether it's cancerous or non-cancerous. Doctors typically do that currently with the slide under a microscope, and they look very closely, very, very small cells. And there's a bajillion cells there. So what we do at Path AI is we build AI models to assist the pathologist's work process, and also provide a streamlined digital viewing experience. But back in the day, we were working on something very exciting, which was a lensless microscope. We were building the idea was you take the camera sensor on a phone, and you put it very close to the tissue sample, and then you take images at various heights. So obviously there's no lens, so the camera sensor really close is there's not gonna be in focus at all. But using computational imaging research or computational imaging methods, we can sort of reconstruct an in-focus image based on many out-of-focus images. And so that's what I worked on for several years after I started Path AI, and we made some very functional prototypes. But unfortunately, that program was ceremoniously cut due to the economic headwinds of the early 2020s.
That's too bad.
Yes, but I was given the choice to take a generous severance or stay with the company, and I really love the company. I love my coworkers, so from then I joined the machine learning operations team as a senior software engineer there, and have been there since.
Fantastic. What can you tell us about the stack of work that you guys use there? Can you tell us something, or what are you guys using for the day-to-day work over there?
Yeah, so our platform uses Django and Vue. On the machine learning operations team, we use Python and C++.
I see.
Yeah. And we use various cloud stacks. Currently, mainly AWS, CKSA, but also adding GCP.
Are you using AWS and GCP for training models, or can you tell us a little bit?
So we actually have our own on-prem data center that we use
I see.
to do a lot of our research. But we use AWS to sort of deploy our models for our clients.
I see.
Yeah.
And that pathology project that you work on no longer exists?
Unfortunately, that specific project is not existent anymore. But it was I reflect fondly on it as my early career where I wore a lot of hats and worked really hard. Yeah.
It does sound very interesting, and it's as a early career kind of project. It's super exciting. Right? So super fun. So what can you tell us about what kind of projects are you working on at PathAI right now? Can you share some of those projects with us?
Yeah. So at PathAI, we process a lot of slides. And as an operations team at our core, a lot of the projects that I work on currently have to do with scalability. How do we scale up our infrastructure to be able to handle, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of slides coming in every year from, some of the biggest labs in the world, like Quest Diagnostics, has partnered with us. Lots of labs from all over, want to use our platform and our algorithms, our products to analyze and assist their pathologists' process. So it's a lot of infrastructure. And on the other hand, machine learning operations is really at the core, in my opinion, so we have our PathAI, our product engineering, which is our platform and client facing. We also have our machine learning research team, which is on another vertex of a triangle, that does research on AI products, training better models using cutting edge technology, and they also need the infrastructure and support and the machine learning platform to be able to efficiently conduct that research. And as well, in the third vertex is our site reliability engineers, our data center, our low-level infrastructure that is also linked to us. So I see, my role has a lot of interfacing with many different parties, which is what keeps things exciting.
That's fantastic. So if I understand the PathAI business, you have all these multiple kind of huge healthcare companies, pathologists providing all sorts of slides kind of information to your system, and you kind of help them applying machine learning and all the AI related technology that you have, and you're helping them to be able to produce better diagnosis for their customers, right? I think that's, in a nutshell, that's what you guys are doing, right?
Yeah, that's right. So there are some places currently where pathologists will physically meet in a room around a microscope that's like connected to 8 other microscopes, and that's called the consensus conference. If you want to look up the picture of the consensus conference, they have to be in the same place looking at the same sample. What our product provides is a way to do that digitally. So you can be anywhere in the world, you have access to the same slides, and that's just a digital viewing experience. So the first step to AI for pathology is going digital, and we feel like our product is very good in providing that experience. But also the next step is adding on that AI. So our most popular algorithms are algorithms such as artifact detect or tumor detect. So we can sort of see, on this slide image, where are the artifacts? Let's give you an overlay so you can immediately point out where the artifacts are or where the tumors are or suspected tumors are. And it's through validation we can see the accuracy of our models compared to the accuracy of a pathologist on the same images. And in many cases, our model is superior. And a lot of patients and providers would want just like that second opinion. Like, okay, what does the AI think? And a lot of getting around that is just like the regulation catching up to the AI.
Absolutely. Legal implications and everything else, right? So
that's right.
So talking a little bit more about that 8 microscope consensus process.
So that's actually the current, that's like the old the old
Okay.
process.
The old
That's
process.
like
Okay.
that's like yeah, we need all the pathologists at this hospital to go in
Yep.
and make a determination here,
Mhm.
where logistically that is a little burdensome. Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So, do we use AI heavily on the new process? So, like, is the consensus today, like, if I'm going through an analysis process, does AI provide a recommendation that doctors can verify and confirm, or how does it work?
Yeah. So now with our, I just want to give an example. Our AI site platform, pathologists, all around the country, all over the world can log into the same viewer experience and then be on a voice call with all the other pathologists, just like a Zoom call, and you're just like screen sharing this slide. And then our AI products can be put on as overlays to sort of, and then that discussion between providers can be had to make the most informed decision
That's fantastic.
about the AI products. Yeah.
That's fantastic, and it's incredible. Thank you for sharing that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, what would you say as some of the key challenges that you go through, like your day-to-day working with? That you mentioned the different vertices you have in the organization, the product, and the service that you supply to your customers. You, in your role, what can you tell us about some of the key challenges that you deal with in your day-to-day?
Yeah, certainly. As being a part of a startup, it's a very different experience than being at a bigger company. From what I've partially experienced from the subsidiary of Intel, but also heard from many of my friends who are employed at some of the bigger companies. At a startup, there's definitely more opportunities for direct impact in your work, but there's also a lot more, let's say, like independent figuring things out that needs to be done. So I would say the amount of learning that needs to be done, figuring things out on your own, is the biggest challenge and joy of exciting part of being at a startup.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think there's likely also the satisfaction of us seeing that you're working on something that's provides a huge social contribution as well, right? Because if you're helping these pathologists to provide better diagnosis for their patients, it's a huge social impact as well, right?
Yeah, personally for me, I was very drawn to the mission of Path AI when I first joined the company. And I was never really cut out for biology. I had a very hard time memorizing things. But I really admire the medical profession and the medical field and all the doctors and providers who dedicate their lives to improving the lives of other people. So being a tangential part adjacent to that industry was very important to me.
Yeah. And it's great to see AI and machine learning being used to provide the service that's being used for, right? So, and helping these guys in delivering service to their customers as well.
Right.
So, but tell me, how did Code in Place come into your life? How did you get into Code in Place?
Yeah, so I think I started at Code in Place based on, I don't remember if it was an email or a LinkedIn post that I saw, and it was just like looking for volunteers to teach coding. And I am very passionate about teaching. I've been a teacher in various capacities my whole life, whether that be in a structured setting or like in a private tutoring setting, or just like teaching my friends or after school or volunteering. I just love teaching, and I also personally, this is an aside, but I think that if you're able to teach something, it means that you understand it a little better as well.
Absolutely.
So I saw that opportunity, and I was like, oh wow, I really, this is right up my alley. I was a TA for a CS or ECS course in undergrad. I love to teach. This is introductory Python. Sign me up. So the first year I was a section leader for Code in Place. So every semester, every year iteration of Code in Place, we have about 700 to 1,000 section leaders, and it's quite a bit. And my cohort of students was around 15 students. So 700 by 15 translates to about 10,000 in that iteration. So yeah, that's how I got involved with it. I had students from all over the world, all different time zones, all there, taking time out of their day and just to learn how to code. The following year, I decided to come back as a section leader, but also took on a little more responsibility as a section leader mentor. So that was, someone who sort of helps a lot of section leaders, especially because many section leaders, this is their first time teaching, and sort of going over how to teach a cohort of students, some pedagogical ideas for how to run your section, get through all the material, answer questions, get everyone involved. So I had a lot of fun sort of guiding the section leaders while also being a section leader myself. That year I think I took on 2 sections, one section and then another section for folks who are hard of hearing. So we added some accessibility considerations to that section. That was my second year. The third year, I joined on as a head TA, which is like head TAs. I guess that was what became of the section leader mentor role, as they're actually hired by Stanford to sort of make sure the course runs smoothly. We have 10,000 students, 700 sections a week. Lots of moving parts going on, as as many events throughout the week, whether those be guest speakers, networking events, review sessions, debugging sessions, more lectures, additional content. There's lots to do, and lots of people very willing and inspired to give this free teaching and learning experience to all the participants in Code in Place. And then last year I was head TA again, and then this year I came back as a director, working under Professor Chris Peach to put on this year's Code in Place. Yeah. Fantastic.
So over the last 4 years, you guys have touched the lives of 40,000 students, right? And is it from a worldwide perspective or a US only perspective, or how does it work?
It's worldwide. We're completely global. We have sections that run 24/7 every single week for has sometimes 6, sometimes 7 weeks. It's truly global. And we have volunteers from all over the world teaching those sections. Yeah.
Is it all in English, or do you guys have localization according to the different sections that you have as well?
So currently our teaching content is English based. We don't currently do localization and translations. There is actually the option for translating from English for some of our content. And I am aware of efforts to open up maybe local chapters of Code in Place to sort of go through the content on a local basis. For example, there was a student who reached out who did Code in Place, all the content, because Code in Place at its core is a free public material platform and content. And it's all available online. Anyone, anytime can go and look at everything that's there. The Code in Place course is this 6-week. You have someone guiding you. You have live sections every week. So this student at their local university took all the material and put on their own Code in Place, and got a recognition from the university. And we're inviting him to hear his experience and putting on that course. So yeah, there's certainly opportunity for more localized content for Code in Place. And I like to think that we've only just begun. We're only getting bigger and better every single year.
Yeah. I can clearly see that, and it's pretty impressive that over the course of 4 years, you guys have been able to help 40,000 students to learn to code, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, it's I think you said 6 weeks, right? That's how long it takes to go through the. Is it, do you call it boot camp, or is it not a boot camp, or what's the idea?
So the curriculum is the actual Stanford University Introduction to CS curriculum, the first semester.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the first half of the CS 106A, using the same tools, same content. Yeah. And
it's delivered in 6 weeks.
It's delivered in 6 weeks. That's correct.
Fantastic. And that's all online. It's all live teaching. So there's no pre-recorded materials, right?
So there is a lecture material that is given by the Professor Chris Peach. So as Stanford professor lecturer, that's on the platform. That is pre-recorded, that you can go in and watch at your own pace. There is a live section every week, which is 50 minutes, where you work with a section leader over and problem solve interactively, and get any questions you have answered. And then there's also several forums that you can participate in and collaborate and get your questions answered, answer some questions, whether that be with your student peers, with your section leaders, with your head TAs, or Professor Peach as well.
That's fantastic. And how many countries are participating in this year? Do you know?
How many what?
How many countries?
Ooh, I actually have that number. Let me pull it up.
Metrics.
Yeah, I think it's near all of them. I recall that we needed someone from Greenland to apply, and that's who we were missing. But I actually have that number.
All countries on the planet. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
I think we're missing. We have 197 countries.
Wow. And I'm assuming you have representation from Brazil as well?
Of course.
That's excellent.
A very dense blue on my visualization here.
That's incredible. Is it being delivered through any specific universities over there, or is it? Can you share what the distribution is in Brazil, or is it just volunteers in general delivering the course?
I'm actually unsure the exact channels by which folks are signing up from Brazil, but we have a fantastic marketing and outreach team that have been connecting with various groups,
That's incredible.
Putting out advertising. You and I got connected through one of our great ambassadors for Code in Place,
Leah.
Thank you, Leah. So yeah, we are currently in full on marketing efforts this month before the course starts next month. Yep.
That's incredible. So how many students are you expecting to have in this edition?
I think we are expecting in the multiple tens of thousands. So maybe around 20,000, 30,000. Yeah, I think that's what we have budgeted based on our head TA count. So as a director, and one of the things I'm in charge of is hiring and directing our cohort of head TAs. And I want to make sure they are well supported. So if we have way too many, we have a lot of more students than we expect, then we have to get more section leaders, because we want to keep that teacher to student ratio at a level that's most optimal. And definitely would have to hire on more head TAs if that ever became the case. So we're keeping a close eye on our numbers. But I think we're exceeding our expectations for how many
That's great.
applicants.
That's great news.
SLs, yeah.
And this is all free for the students, right?
Completely free, 100% free.
That's incredible. That's an incredible gift. And so, and you said it's the introductory computer science course from Stanford, and you guys use Python as the programming language for the work, right?
That's correct.
Are there any
Yeah.
plans for? I'm not sure if that covers any AI kind of work as well, or is it part of the curriculum or not?
Yeah, so this is a beginner course in terms of like covering, Python, basic computing principles, Python syntax. But definitely AI is a huge topic of interest, and we incorporate a lot of AI into our platform. For example, one thing that we have is AI-driven feedback based on any bugs that you may have. Every time that your program throws an error, we have a integrated AI that suggests what might be wrong, where you could check to improve your error. I want to go back a bit to I had a thought. So our platform hosts everything. So you don't need your separate IDE. You don't need experience with the terminal. That's all in the platform. And we teach terminal interface as well, included, because that's very important for a software engineer. And one thing I really love about our platform is that it is accessible via mobile as well. So anyone, even all you need is the weakest internet connection, and even just like a handheld device, and you can be a part of this program. And I think that really sort of democratizes the access to this very, personally, very high quality education. Yeah.
That's incredible. That's, like I said, it's a gift to so many people, right? It's all for free.
And one thing I might add is that there are lots of these type of courses out there where you can, a lot of people sign up, not a lot of people finish. The attrition rate is, I want to say,
pretty high.
Some are, some courses only like 5% people finish, or 10% of people, make their way to get their certificate. But for us, I think we boast, upwards of 60-70%.
Wow.
And it's due to the fact that we have these volunteer section leaders that are in the loop, that are encouraging students, getting their questions answered. And we hold the students to the commitment of showing up every week just for 50 minutes. And then, whenever they want to do any other assignments on their own time, they can do it on their own time. But the time with the section leader, we think is the special sauce for why we've been so successful.
No doubt. Because you certainly help, for those who are trying to learn, we have to recognize it's not easy, right? Like you said at the beginning of the conversation here, you still remember the first for loop that you wrote, that put an impression on you, right? So it's like, holy cow, right?
Yeah.
And for somebody that has never seen programming before, it does look like, what the heck is this, right? So it's something that's certainly not easy to understand.
Right.
And I think I'm absolutely right. The contribution that the teaching assistants or section leaders provide to the students, it's huge, because it really helps them to address any questions they may have. It's incredible. I'm very happy to hear that. And you said 60 to 70% success rate. It's really, really, really fantastic. That's incredible. So I'm going to ask again, because one of the challenges that we have in Brazil specifically, because that's where those programadores is many people don't speak English, right? And so we're trying to encourage people to learn English. We're trying to encourage people to get more and more exposure to English. It's changing. I moved away from Brazil almost 30 years ago. And it was pretty not common to have professionals that could speak English. And these days, you're seeing more and more people speaking English, and more people finding better jobs working for companies outside of Brazil. And so we're continuing to encourage people to learn English. But at the same time, we also want to help those that cannot speak English at all, because it's hard not just to learn how to code. If you have to learn English at the same time, it's complicated, right? So I'll be very interested in hearing about any localization efforts that you guys may have in the future, because I think it's for countries like Brazil, it's going to increase dramatically the amount of people that are going to be joining, because there's certainly a huge demand for learning, right? And it's
that's a great point.
Yeah, with the platform that you and the way you described it, I think I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation too, we have been helping donating computers to people that don't have computers, right? And you mentioned that your platform allows people to learn from a cell phone, and it doesn't have to be a super powerful cell phone, right? So it doesn't have to be a super powerful internet connection, which is even better. So that's incredible. I can probably sense I'm super excited to hear about this, because I can see the benefits to so many people, not only in Brazil, but so many other places where they need that learning, right? They need the opportunity to learn, the opportunity to be able to open a path on their lives that they don't have that option these days. So super exciting. So
I would say that a lot of our students, their English background, has a very wide range from beginning English speakers to native speakers, and we are very into this internationalization effort, and hope to make Code in Place work in any language in the future, for sure.
Fantastic. Yeah, that would be fantastic. But it's good to hear that you're getting beginners, or they don't necessarily have a good English control, but at the same time they're being able to join and participate in the program, which is super cool. So what's next for Code in Place? So can you share us a little bit of the roadmap besides the localization efforts that you guys may work on? So what's next for Code in Place in the next few years? What kind of goals do you guys have?
Yeah, our goal is to continuously improve our platform, improve the teaching experience, the learning experience for students, reach as many students as possible. Of course, our platform is always improving with new features, new AI features, and a lot of research being done to various. Of course, Chris's lab is very CS and education focused, so a lot of research initiatives, accessibility initiatives through Code in Place are sort of what we're focusing on. One feature I really like that we piloted in recent iterations is that we call it Teach Now. So this is any section leader or any sort of student who wants to teach, and has been through the teaching training, can sort of volunteer to teach at any moment. And then anyone currently on the platform will see a little pop-up that says, someone's willing to help you if you need help. And that person can click on that just-in-time training or just-in-time teaching, and sort of have this sort of impromptu teaching learning experience on the fly. And I think rolling out that feature would be very interesting to see how the learning outcomes are impacted by that. It's just it's such a great environment to sort of improve the teaching and learning experience for those who want to teach and learn computer science, as well as we want to expand Code in Place to be able to be conducted really anywhere where there's a willing audience of learners. For example, we had a pilot done at the San Francisco incarceration facility, where incarcerated individuals were able to engage with the Code in Place content from there, as well as expanding to local community colleges who would like to use the platform to host their curriculum or use Code in Place content, expanding the curriculum to more than just the first semester of CS at Stanford, to other subjects like probability, very fundamental topics for a career in software, or just any using computing as a tool. Any endeavor using computing as a tool.
So if somebody in Brazil, they listen to the interview and they get super excited like I am, and they say, well, I want to be able to help and I want to participate, and there's a very large IT, and there's a very large Python-based community in Brazil as well.
Right.
What should they do? How do they approach Code in Place to say, oh, I'm here, I want to contribute to the effort and join the effort? How does it work?
Of course. It's very simple. Just head over to codeinplace.stanford.edu. That's Code in Place is CODEINPLACE. Codeinplace.stanford, STANFORD.edu. And you'll see two buttons, one to apply to learn and another to apply to teach. And then from there, you submit an application. We review your application. And then if you're accepted, the class starts on April 21st, which is a little over a month from now.
Pretty close.
So there's still some time to apply. If you're interested, definitely recommend anyone with any interest in teaching or learning computer science to apply. And even if you already, have learned a different coding language or even have learned Python before, this is definitely a different course, different material.
Let's see if we can get some helpers from you from Brazil. So
Love it.
They'll be excited. They'll be excited to see some people. So one question that the people who are trying to get into coding keep asking us is AI going to take over, right? So it's AI going to replace programmers, and you're kind of well positioned to provide a good opinion on that topic because you're in the middle of the AI topic, while at the same time you're directing and you have an effort here, huge effort, where you're teaching thousands of people how to code, right? What would you tell these people? They're asking me or asking the group that we have 4,000 people that we have in the group. They keep asking, what's the future here? Is AI going to control everything, or what should I expect? What would you tell these people?
Yeah, so this is a super common question that I've got over the past years. And there's sort of two approaches to think about it. One is, is AI actually going to take the jobs? And the second approach is, what does learning how to code, get you? So going from the second one, I would say that learning computer science is not so much. It is for some people. It's about getting employment, but I would say it's more about learning how to solve problems, learning how to think, learning how to break down problems into smaller ones and sort of formulate a step-by-step solution, because that's what you're teaching a computer to do. And then this sort of capability will translate to anything that you do, whether that be in the software space or not. And as for whether AI is going to take the jobs, it depends what the jobs are. I would say that the trend that I've seen personally is that a well-equipped software engineer with AI is going to be what the industry wants.
Yeah.
So I would say that when it comes to very nuanced or more complex systems, AI does not do such a good job. But when it comes to generating ideas, generating sort of like boilerplates or testing, or writing a unit test, I would say that AI has a place there. But that sort of allows software engineers to think more critically about business needs.
Absolutely. And I think that what you're saying about the software engineers enabled by AI, I think we're going to be able to take a look at more complex projects, problems that today perhaps will not be able to look at. You just described what Path AI is doing for helping the pathologists, right? So you think about all sorts of complex problems out there that AI can help us resolve in combination with the effort of very smart people as well, right? So it's exciting to see this change and how this is going to evolve as well. And it's incredible to see the impact that coding plays may have in so many people as well. So super exciting. But with that in mind, and thinking that going back through what you told me about, since you wrote your first for loop, and you have been dealing with machine learning, you're dealing with complex.
I actually wrote my first for loop on a calculator. It was a TI 80, TI 83.
Texas Instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super cool. Super cool. But if you think about those days, and if you think about I realize you don't have 300 years in your career, but it's still you went from for loop in your calculator to dealing with machine learning. You're dealing with complex systems. You're dealing with complex work. You're helping here thousands of people to learn how to code. And you see a lot of interesting technology, right? So you're dealing with cloud computing, you're dealing with infrastructure at scale to support the customer needs that you have. When you look at the future, and I think there's a lot in the future here. Is anything that you're not dealing with today in terms of being technology or being a specific problem that you don't have today, but you'd like to work on that problem at some point in time? Is anything that excites you that you may be interested in working with in the future? Not that you don't have a shortage of problems today.
I personally really enjoy the concept of home automation. So like, robotics, sort of voice assistant tools. And I think that technology has a long way to mature. But definitely, if I were to be doing something else, not what I'm currently doing, would have to be something in that space, combining software with the Internet of Things. Something mechatronics, IoT based.
Absolutely.
With the addition of AI, I think there is something to be done there. I think a lot of I'm not aware currently. I don't think a lot of the voice assistants are fully integrated with like AI because of the. This is just my speculation, because of the hallucinations that AI currently has. But I definitely keeping an eye on that space, because that, I think, everyone hopefully has a home, and that can be improved by technology, I think. And some of the ways that homes are being improved by technology currently, I personally don't think are super useful, but there are other ways that it could be.
It'll be interesting, because there's the whole industry is on its infancy, I think, right? There's so many different things you can help improve, and at the end of the show, how can you improve somebody's life, right? So,
right.
And if we can come up with products that improve people's lives, that's really a key benefit there.
Right.
And super cool. But we're kind of thinking about the future, but if you look back for time, right, and you go back to your beginning of your first programming kind of exercises, or the work you have done, the school, the university, your career today, would you have changed anything at all if you could?
Yeah, if I could give a younger myself some advice, some pointers, if I could go back and do it all over, I would definitely get into doing more projects and failing at more projects quicker. I don't think I've ever regretted working on a project, whether it was successful or it was a failure or it didn't work, because I definitely learned something from that process. And I think there was a point where I was more afraid of, or had some sort of mental block where I couldn't get started on something because I didn't think I would do it perfectly. And I would definitely advise any listeners out there who are interested in learning to just sort of get started, and learn to use tools to figure out how to get past the next smallest thing that you need to do. So take things one step by step, and don't be afraid of failure, because if you're not failing, you're not trying. I think that is the that is the motto.
Yeah, it's what I used to tell some of my engineers is if you have not broken anything today, it has not been a productive day.
Yeah, I heard from a Netflix engineer that
Mhm.
that their preferred way of working is to just like spend a couple days going extremely fast on a prototype,
Mhm.
getting something barely functional, and then throwing it all away and doing it
Mhm.
again.
Okay.
And that really stuck with me as something that I should I aspire to do more things quicker to get more of the benefits of the doing and the learning of it all.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the learning by doing, right? So which is super important for sure. And I think you're somehow, I think you answered the next question I was going to ask you, because I think I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation here, we're trying to help young adults in Brazil that want to learn to code and want to get into technology. And they have a lot of questions, right? So, and questions that go from, is this for me? Does it have a future? Does it have a future? Is AI going to take the jobs? Or so what do I learn? How do I learn? And what's, is it a perfect path for learning? And I think you're at, if I ask you what kind of recommendations you have for those people, that's exactly what you just told me. And try something.
I would say, yeah, find something that you want to improve about your life with technology, or some sort of project that you're passionate about. One example I can give is I am an avid chess player. I really love to play chess. So, example for there, if you're very curious about how keeping track of all your chess games, having a viewer to go over what your common openings are, and then you'll things like that. And that involves data, and involves crunching data, storing data, all things that will come up again over and over again in a software engineer career. Just anything you're interested in, what can you do? What's the smallest project you can do to try to in that area?
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's a great recommendation. And talking about recommendations again, do you have any books, music, games, movies or food, or anything you want to recommend that you want to share with the audience? Anything that you like? It's a pretty broad question.
It's a pretty broad question. Books, movies, food. Well, I would say
try
that
to make it really broad so people can choose for a universe of things, right?
Yeah, I am certainly an avid foodie here in the Los Angeles area. Definitely recommend Korean food in the Koreatown, K-Town, Los Angeles, as well as the Asian food in the San Gabriel Valley, near where I live. It's a lot of very authentic food, restaurants, small businesses in those areas. Let's see what I've been watching lately. I've been watching Severance. Which is
how do you like it?
I haven't figured out what's going on yet, but I like it quite a bit. And I look forward to Fridays when I get to watch it.
Are you a big sci-fi fan?
I enjoy sci-fi. Yes.
Did you watch Silo?
I have not watched Silo. I think most recently before Severance, I watched Dune, the movie.
Yeah.
I really like Dune. Looking forward to the next
I
installment as well.
I recommend Silo. It was a good show.
Silo, S-I-L-O?
Yep, from Apple. Yep, same Apple TV.
Oh, it's on Apple as well. Certainly, I'll check it out while I have that subscription.
And if you have not watched I recommend Foundation as well. It's also Apple. Yep, there's I think they have a couple of seasons already. It's a fantastic show. It's based on a series of books from Isaac Asimov. So, if you're a science fiction fan, you're going to like it.
Thanks for the recommendation. Silo and foundation. All right.
Yeah, and foundation, because you told me that you like math, you like computer science. I think I won't tell you what the plot is, but watch foundation, and then you can message me later and say, yeah, I really like it. No, it really sucked, Marcelo. Why did you tell me to watch that?
Will
But
do.
anyway,
Will do.
yeah, thank you for the recommendations. And
yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was
please.
going to add for books, I think the book An Elegant Puzzle is a very good book for software engineers, software engineering managers out there who really like. It's a really good resource for building software engineering teams. For those who want to learn more Python, I would say Fluent Python has been a very good resource for me in sort of maturing my Python understanding.
Mhm.
And then I think my all-time favorite book that's not like tech related is Justice by Michael Sandel. And it's a book that covers a lot of ethical and philosophical discussions, starting with the very popular trolley problem. So I would say that is a book that I've revisited many times in my life, just to give me a perspective on different sorts of. It's called Justice: What's the Right Thing to Do by Michael Sandel, and it follows an introductory philosophy course from Professor Sandel, who's at Harvard.
Super cool.
Yeah.
And Joseph, we have been talking here for close to an hour.
Oh wow, time flies.
I hope you had a good time, because I did have a good time. So
I had a good time.
went by pretty quickly. Question that I have is, are there any questions that I did not ask and that you wish you had asked?
No, I think you covered the gamut, ran the gamut.
Cool, very cool.
Yeah.
And close to the end here, anything you'd like to share, like contact information, LinkedIn page, or anything else?
Yeah. You can visit Code in Place at codeinplace.stanford.edu. My information is on the Teams page there. I have a personal website that is just my name. It's josephL.ee. That is the domain.
Fantastic.
So yeah, and if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out. I will try to get to it, but sometimes it gets lost. Don't feel bad if I don't respond, please. Or try again. Yeah. But thanks so much for having me. I really enjoyed
My pleasure.
Podcast.
Yeah, thank you again for taking time. It's 7:15 p.m. and it's been a pleasure. So thank you very much for taking time. And stay with me for a couple of minutes. I'm just going to stop recording, then we'll speak a little bit more.
Will do.
Give me 1 second. Let me turn off this recording feature here.